Welcome to the Continental Current. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more updates and thrilling short scenes. Imagine sitting on a treasure chest worth $15 billion, not gold, but rare earth elements, the lifeblood of modern technology. Mongolia found itself with a world-class deposit, a jackpot that could have transformed its economy. The promise was immense: infrastructure, healthcare, education, all within reach. But today, that mine is abandoned, silent, and empty. A monument to a gamble gone wrong. Instead of prosperity, Mongolia got a cautionary tale in global power politics. So, what happened? How does a nation go from jackpot to empty pit? The answer: a risky bet in the US-China rivalry. Mongolia chose to align with the US, shutting out its powerful neighbor, China. It was a high-stakes move, hoping for American investment and support. But the result? A dream fired straight into a brick wall, leaving only a bitter lesson behind. And it all started with one fateful decision. Mongolia's geography is a diplomatic minefield, wedged between two of the world's most powerful and unpredictable neighbors. On one side is China, Mongolia's main trade route and economic partner, whose influence is felt in nearly every aspect of Mongolian life. On the other, the distant United States, a would-be ally that offers hope but is separated by oceans and continents. To avoid being squeezed by these giants, Mongolia crafted its third neighbor policy, an ambitious strategy to build relationships with countries beyond its immediate borders, seeking balance and a measure of independence. But when Mongolia blocked Chinese firms from accessing its rare earth minerals, it was a bold, risky move that sent shockwaves through the region. Ulaanbaatar essentially told China, no thanks, risking economic retaliation and political tension. Instead, Mongolia handed the opportunity to America, hoping for a new era of partnership and prosperity. The US cheered, eager to break its dependence on Chinese minerals and touting Mongolia as a new strategic partner. Mongolia bet everything on US promises, investment, advanced technology, and the hope of building a new supply chain that could transform its economy. But international relations isn't a Hollywood movie, where the underdog always wins and alliances never falter. By siding with the US, Mongolia antagonized China, the regional powerhouse that controls the board and can make or break Mongolia's economic future. China isn't just a competitor, it's the global gatekeeper of rare earths, holding the keys to a resource the world desperately needs. Mongolia's move was like trying to build a spaceship with a friend across the ocean, while cutting ties with the only local rocket fuel dealer. The result? Mongolia found itself isolated, with empty promises, and its economic future hanging in the balance. The gamble left Mongolia vulnerable, its mining sites deserted, and its economy teetering on the edge. The lesson: in a neighborhood of giants, every move is high risk, and the consequences are never simple. Mongolia's gamble would soon come due, forcing the nation to face the harsh realities of global power politics. What are rare earths, and why do they matter? They're not actually rare, just hard and messy to process. These 17 elements are the super vitamins powering everything from smartphones and EVs to wind turbines and MRI machines. But their most critical use? National defense. Fighter jets, submarines, missiles, all depend on rare earths. Without them, a nation's military edge vanishes. Control over rare earths isn't just about tech, it's about security and power. When one country dominates the supply, rivals are left dangerously exposed. It's like your opponent making all your bullets. That's why the rare earth struggle is a global power game, and China has been playing it masterfully. For decades, the world let China handle the dirty work of rare earths. While other countries focused on cleaner industries and high-tech innovation, China was quietly building the backbone of the modern world, one mineral at a time. China built a near-total monopoly, mining 70% and refining up to 90% of global supply. This dominance didn't happen overnight. It was the result of decades of investment, government support, and a willingness to bear the environmental cost that others shunned. Even if you dig up rare earths elsewhere, you still need China to process them. The world's supply chains all lead back to Chinese factories, where raw minerals are transformed into the building blocks of modern technology. China also makes over 90% of the world's most powerful rare earth magnets, vital for EVs, wind turbines, smartphones, and even missiles. These tiny components are essential for everything from green energy to national defense. Deng Xiaoping once said, "The midzao sen sabib, then das tenedzao da kontori." Medin the Middle East has oil. China has rare earths. Beijing turned that into a weapon. Rare earths became a strategic asset, giving China leverage over industries and governments worldwide. Now China is squeezing its grip, banning exports of key technologies and minerals, and forcing companies to beg for export licenses. The world is feeling the pressure as China flexes its industrial muscle. The impact is real. European car makers are shutting down. EV production is threatened, and entire industries are scrambling to find alternatives. Even the Pentagon is worried, as military planners realize how vulnerable their supply chains have become. Japan's tech industry is in chaos, with factories idled and engineers scrambling for solutions as supplies dry up. This isn't a hypothetical threat, it's a present danger to the global economy and security. The ripple effects are being felt in stock markets, supply chains, and boardrooms around the world. Mongolia, hoping to escape this trap, instead walked right into it. The promise of rare earth riches has turned into a geopolitical headache. Its rare earths are stuck, with no way to reach the market. The infrastructure and political barriers are simply too great to overcome alone. The world's dependence on China is now painfully clear. Every nation is rethinking its strategy, but breaking free won't be easy. And Mongolia's dream of independence has become a cautionary tale, a warning to others about the risks of relying on a single supplier. The cost of picking sides is higher than ever, and the world is learning that in the age of rare earths, economic power is just as potent as military might. Mongolia's pivot to the US brought swift, harsh consequences. After banning Chinese firms, Mongolia waited for American investment, but the US had no rare earth processing industry to offer. Mongolia was left with valuable dirt and no buyers. The $15 billion mine collapsed, jobs vanished, and the economy took a hit. China didn't need sanctions, it just slowed border trade, quietly squeezing Mongolia's lifeline. Mongolia alienated its main partner without securing real support from the West. The result? Diplomatic isolation, economic paralysis, and a painful lesson in global chess. The abandoned mine is now a daily reminder of this miscalculation. In the great power game, Mongolia was left holding nothing. The US scrambled to fix its rare earth problem, but it was too little, too late. Years of neglect and complacency had left the country dangerously dependent on foreign supply chains, and now, the consequences were impossible to ignore. MP Materials reopened a California mine and built a Texas magnet plant, but its output is a drop in the ocean compared to China. Even with these new facilities, the US barely scratches the surface of global demand, while China's production towers over the rest of the world. Billions were thrown at the problem, but decades of lost expertise can't be rebuilt overnight. The West's industrial base had withered, and the know-how needed to compete had faded away, leaving only ambitious plans and half-finished projects. The West lacks the refineries to process rare earths. New mines just produce more rock for China to refine. Without the ability to turn raw materials into finished products, Western efforts remain incomplete and dependent on their main rival. Building this capacity takes years and a willingness to deal with pollution the West once outsourced. Environmental regulations, public opposition, and high costs slow every step, making progress painfully slow. Meanwhile, China tightens its grip, refining its export controls and regulations. With every new policy, Beijing reminds the world who really controls the rare earths market. The US offered Mongolia a partnership in a supply chain that didn't exist. Promises were made, but the infrastructure and investment needed to make them real never materialized. When Mongolia needed real support, the West had only promises. Hopes for a new economic future faded as Western aid failed to arrive, leaving Mongolia in a difficult position. In desperation, the US even asked China to speed up export licenses for the very materials it needs. The irony was hard to miss. The world's superpower reduced to pleading with its main competitor. It's a position of weakness, and Mongolia paid the price. The country's hopes for prosperity and independence were dashed by the West's inability to deliver. The West's empty promises left Mongolia stranded, caught between two giants and with little to show for its trust. In the rare earths race, China is still far ahead, and unless the West makes real, lasting changes, that gap will only grow. Mongolia's abandoned mine is more than a local disaster. It's a warning to every small nation caught between superpowers. The US-China rivalry isn't just headlines, it's a daily existential risk for countries like Mongolia. Grand promises from distant allies can't replace the hard realities of geography and trade. China's leverage is immediate and tangible. The West's support is often abstract and delayed. Mongolia's tragedy is a lesson in miscalculation, choosing a side without a safety net. As the US and China decouple, more nations will face Mongolia's impossible choice. In the great game of superpowers, it's the smallest pieces that pay the highest price. Mongolia's silent mine is a somber reminder. In global chess, pawns are the first to fall. The cost of picking sides can be catastrophic.